Okay. Alright. Hey, look at that. We're like finally on time for once. Kind of, maybe. I'm like a minute off. But, oh, wait. Let me not false advertise. Let me actually put this thing on. Ugh. How do I look? Acceptable. Acceptable. There we go. What up? What up? I'm not wearing my glasses. What's up? What's up, Spader? Will the Eric Larson Aquaman run analysis come out? Eric Larson did an Aquaman book? When? When, you say? Crap, that is a thing. That is a thing. What's up, everybody? What's up? How you doing? Glad to see some folks strolling on in. I'm actually on time for once. I'm kind of proud of myself for that. Before we get like super started, I did want to like sort of make an announcement. Peter David is going through some like health challenges. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a link to his GoFundMe. So I have a link to my Instagram. If you want, you can like find it through my YouTube channel. It's at Mystical Green Beanie at Instagram. But yeah, Peter David was majorly influential on like my childhood and reading comic books, you know, between like Spider-Man 2099, the one really important Aquaman book that's like worth reading is by Peter David. Young Justice is by Peter David. Peter David tricked me into thinking that I was a Hulk fan when really I'm just a Peter David Hulk fan. Because like all the like really important Hulk stuff comes from Peter David. So like I don't know, just Peter David meant a lot for me in like, you know, my childhood and reading comics. So you know, I wanted to I just wanted to make you guys aware that he has a GoFundMe for you know, some health issues that he's going through. And yeah, I hope you guys can donate if you can. And if you can't, at the very least, just like spread the word. Because I don't think a living legend should have to, you know, in an ideal world, ask for medical help. But, you know, at least now we get to be the heroes and help our heroes along the way. So, yeah. Well, serious stuff out of the way. Boom. What's up, guys? What comics did you guys read this week? What's cracking? Let's see, we got Spader, 1610, Tevia, Supreme Omega. What's up, guys? Alright, let's see. Let's get into some chats. Christopher Nolan's The Question. Questions without answers. That's just Inception. No, you know, I think Christopher Nolan would actually make a pretty cool Inception movie, not gonna lie. Not Inception. He'd make a pretty cool Question movie, I think. Hey guys, so I've been rereading the original Dragon Ball, been doing that due to my feelings about, Toriyama's passing. Dragon Ball is a series that I, like, do want to jump into at some point. Apparently the original run is, like, a little over 200 chapters, and, like, all the stuff that, like, people iconically think about from Dragon Ball doesn't start until, like, after that. That's when you get the reveal that, like, Goku's actually a that Goku's actually like an alien. And the book goes from being Journey of the West or Journey to the West to like Superman. So that's like sort of a weird transition, but that's one that I do definitely want to check out at some point because everyone just like sings its praises. I never really got into the anime. It just felt very like, I don't know. That's like it's just every episode everyone's just screaming. I never got into it. But apparently the manga doesn't really like that at all. Like the manga actually, like, stuff happens. So that's like my next big manga collection that I get into after I finish collecting Blue Exorcist, because that's my thing. That's my jam. Comic book fans quote, Peter David was Whedon before Whedon. I wouldn't insult Peter David like that. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, kinda. Peter David, in like a weird way, is sort of like post Jack Kirby, because in the same way that like Jack Kirby has his Marvel universe, like everyone else is doing stuff there. Like Steve Ditko is doing stuff, Bill Everett's doing stuff, but like Jack Kirby had like a specific vision for the Marvel universe. And he was like doing his own thing. I sort of talk about this in my next like comic review, which is Earth X. I'm not even gonna like. There's gonna be no pretense here. There's gonna be no like, what's the review? No, it's Earth X. I'm talking about Earth X. But yeah, like in the same way that Jack Kirby was sort of telling a story through like the Avengers and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and Thor, like all that sort of like reads as one cosmic epic. Peter David was sort of doing that with the Marvel Universe, in the same way that like Jack Kirby was doing that. Like his Hulk run sort of like has some stuff that bleeds into like Spider-Man 2099. So like I don't know. Peter David he's like one of those guys who I feel should be touted as he should be like one of the heads on like the Mount Rushmore of Marvel Comics. Like I definitely do feel that way about him. Dragon Ball's gritty reboot by Zack Snyder or Michael Bay. I think Zack Snyder would get the aesthetic of Dragon Ball Z down. I don't know how you get to write that though. Like, I don't know. Dev Patel's apparently a really good writer, so get Dev Patel to write it with with Zack Snyder as the director. Maybe get Dev Patel to play Goku. Yeah, I don't know. That's a movie. Make it happen, Hollywood. Do it. I'm sad Toriyama's gone. Dude, yeah, no, Toriyama's like that dude was majorly influential on like not just anime or manga, but just action and comics in general. The average layman wishes to have a legacy as impactful as Toriyama. Dude, the Chinese government recognized a Japanese man. Like, I don't think you guys recognize how big of a deal that is. China was like, this Japanese man is majorly influential on the culture. Toriyama respect. Yo. The cartels and China recognize this man. That's how you know he was a real one. That's good, Josiah. Currently reading the big, fat, morbidly obese Warworld Saga trade. Dude, it's a really good Superman story. I have most of it. I want to get the Warworld Saga, like the thick boy. I want the thick boy, but I already have most of it. The only thing that I don't have that's collected in that is the Batman Superman one shot, which I'm not sure how important that actually is, but I don't know. I definitely want to at least read that at some point. But yeah, Warworld Saga is really good. Have fun. Who says I've been rewatching my favorite moment from Dragon Ball with Gohan fighting Cell. Yeah, I have no concept for that. I've never watched Dragon Ball, but I'm glad you're watching it. Got into anime with Dragon Ball, sweet. I know a lot of fans, especially in America, love Dragon Ball Z, but I've always been more of a fan of the original Dragon Ball, original Dragon Ball is has a way more heavy emphasis on martial arts, humor, and no one is sidelined yet. Interesting, huh? Will Whedon, the forgotten Whedon brother. I keep forgetting that's like a family of like industry babies. Like they're all just like the children of Dune, but for Hollywood. Actually, I do have like a Zack Whedon comic. Honestly, Zack Whedon probably wrote the best sequel to Terminator that's never been filmed. It's the shit. Do I have it over here still? I don't think I do. I know I still have it, but I'm not sure like where it is. But it's like Terminator 1984 to 2024 or something like that. And it basically takes that one line from Terminator 2 where John talks about how there was one guy who his mother knew who wasn't a terrible guy, but he just up and disappeared. Yeah, Zack Whedon makes a whole character and a whole world out of that, where it's this dude who knew Kyle Reese in the future, and then he came back in time. He was like one of the volunteers to protect John as a baby, and then you find out that Kyle Reese didn't actually die. He was just being held in a Skynet facility and being mined for information and ideas. So that was actually a really good Terminator film. That isn't a film, it's a comic book. But yeah, that's like the best Terminator 3 that we never got. If you guys haven't checked it out, you definitely should. I actually might make a video about that in the maybe near-ish future. And by near-ish future, I mean the next 10 years. Earth X, yeah, Earth X is really good. It's so good, man. It's like frustratingly good. I'm excited for you guys to see this video. I mean, most of it is just me rambling and just going off like, this is so cool. I like when this happened. Mayday Parker's Venom, isn't that cool? That's basically just me the entire video, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've like read a comic that I just properly gushed over, so I had fun with it. Marvel's Earth X versus DC's Kingdom Come, quote, "Welcome to a biblical end, my brother." Yeah, and Earth X did it better. So he says, question, will the Zeb Wells run, Zeb Wells run is coming to an end? Interesting. With the Zeb Wells run hopefully coming to an end this issue 50, do you believe Marvel will finally listen or keep doing bad stories like Jackpot? Tevye, I don't know how else to tell you this, man, but Spider-Man has sort of been in this like crappy situation where editors don't really know what to do with the character and have been actively trying to fix the character and actively trying to fix the character, just further breaking the character for like 30 years. And I don't see that cycle breaking or ending anytime soon. They're just gonna keep doing it. So, literally, you could get Alan Moore on Spider-Man. Like, Alan Moore could just toss aside all of his artistic integrity and, you know, be like, I'm gonna write for the corporate overlords at Marvel Comics. He could literally, you can get one of the greatest comic book writers of all time to work on Spider-Man right now, and it would still suck ass. Because the higher ups are just, they're in the kitchen. They're in the kitchen, and there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, and Spider-Man's just gonna continue being what Spider-Man is. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. But that one shot wasn't important to Warworld. Okay, cool. Well, that sums that up. Thanks. Gohan is my favorite character growing up. I don't know what that means, but if that's a Dragon Ball reference, then I'll join you in the sun. I just have to read Dragon Ball one day. I will get there eventually, though. Supreme says, I feel like Zack Snyder would be the wrong person for Dragon Ball Z. To adapt Dragon Ball Z, you need that Toriyama humor. You know what? Zack Snyder would be a really good director for Fist of the North Star. You know what he would also be really good at directing? A live-action Berserk. I could definitely see Zack Snyder just straight up adapting Berserk. Yeah. Especially like the Golden Age. If you're gonna do Berserk, just have him do like a 4-hour adaptation of the Golden Age. I'd watch it. I would definitely watch that. I mean, in like a weird way, he tried to turn the DC universe into Berserk. If you look at those plans for his original pitch for like that 7 movie arc that he wanted to do, it's just Berserk. It's just Berserk, and Superman is both Guts and Griffith, and Batman is simultaneously both Guts and Griffith, and Lois Lane is just Casca. It's a bizarre pitch, but when you think about the DCEU, or at the very least when you think of like the Snyderverse, not as like a DC universe adaptation, but as Berserk with DC characters, everything makes sense. It all fits together perfectly. We will never see anything like that ever again, but it's interesting. Dragon Ball Evolution 2 Revolution. We don't need that. Which is why I like Jonathan Samuel Kent. Yeah, I can see a lot of Gohan in John Kent. Question: any opinion on the Earth X sequel or prequel to that book? I haven't read those yet. I do know that Marvel's X is the official prequel to Earth X, and that's written by Jim Krueger. I don't know who does the art for it. It's definitely not John Polion, because he passed away like 10 years ago now, I think. But I do want to check out the Earth X prequel. And I didn't read the sequels, Universe X and the other one, which I don't know what it's called. It's like what? Earth X. Universe X, and the Universe X specials. Oh, and Paradise X. Oh, okay. I think this all is stuff that's like collected in that like big ass omnibus that I just wasn't prepared to. I wasn't prepared to drop like $150 on it. I just wasn't gonna do that. But it did look cool. Let's see. I don't see Alan Moore writing Spider-Man. He probably wouldn't, but it'd be cool if he did. Overall general question. All right, let's go. Let's see what it is. What tropes and cliches do you dislike that you are tired of? Just like in general. I'm tired of characters. I'm tired specifically of writers through characters outsmarting, or at least like trying to be clever and outsmarting narrative tropes, but then still following through with said tropes. Like, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of like the self-aware like meta humor Um, like it's fun when Venture Brothers does it. I liked when they did it 20 years ago. It was kind of cool when Buffy did it like 30 years ago. It was revolutionary back then. But now it's do we need to comment on Superman wearing his red underwear on the outside? Do we need to like actually comment on like uh fucking billionaire superheroes dressing up and fighting crime as opposed to like uh dumping all of their resources into the city, which by the way there have been like plenty of stories that show that that doesn't actually work. You can't just throw money at the problem, but that's neither here nor there. But still, just I'm tired of that. I could definitely live without writers trying to be clever and smart, and they're actually just not being clever and smart. They're just being annoying. I could live without that. Just in general, and like in every fucking medium, we can do without that. Which is confusing. What's confusing? It's confusing because Ultimate Spider-Man is amazing and outselling the main book. Well, the first issue outsold the main Amazing Spider-Man book. But a lot of that, there were tons of factors involved in the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man doing as well as it did. You have to factor in that it's a #1 issue. It had like 30 variant covers. It's a book that was highly speculated on. It's also, again, #1 issue, so a lot of people jumped onto it. Specifically people who are very vocal about hating the Zeb Wells run. So there's like a whole like solidarity thing there. We're really gonna see the mark of success, or we're not really gonna see the mark of success of this book until like issue 3 or 4. If Ultimate Spider-Man continues doing the numbers that issue #1 did, then it's gonna be like a resounding success. But we're not there yet. 1610 says the best Terminator 3 we never got, a prequel. Judgment Day just begun. Well, it's kind of a prequel, but it's also a sequel and a in-between. It's weird. It takes place. Fucking time travel movies. Holy shit. All right, it takes place before the events of the first Terminator, because you see how Kyle Reese got the picture of Sarah Connor and how he met with John and how they're going to send Kyle into the past, which is interesting. I have to read that again, because the way it reads to me is that humanity won the war and Skynet was just sort of limping along, but John wanted to, well, I mean, the kayfabe is that John wanted to send a soldier back in time and stop the war from ever happening in the first place, but in reality, the best you could do is just close the loop of having John be born, and then, you know, he becomes the messiah of the robot future. But yeah, it takes place just all around. It's really good. It's both a prequel and a sequel and a spin-off. It's a lot of stuff. Shut up. Don't confuse me. Question, why don't those higher-ups just get fired at this point? Because, Tevi, if that happened, we'd live in a just world. I don't know. I don't want to advocate for people getting fired, but, you know, it is a boys' club at Marvel and DC. So you're going to see a lot of different faces making the same mistakes because their buddies made the same mistakes like 10 or 15 years ago. That's just the way the comics industry works. Grant Morrison, Spider-Man, just another campy Silver Age throwback. You say that, but I'm not sure if you ever read Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4, or like read the Grant Morrison essay of his analysis of Fantastic Four, where Johnny and Sue have like incest urges, and Reed is like a permacuck who likes being a cuck. Like, I feel like you get a really fucked up Spider-Man book out of Grant Morrison. In the same way that we sort of got like a really fucked up X-Men run out of Grant Morrison. Although apparently Grant Morrison just is a Ditko purist. So I'm not sure. I'm not really sure like what you'd really get with Spider-Man out of Grant Morrison. Maybe like a flashback like teen book or something like that. But yeah, I don't think it'd be All-Star Superman. I can tell you that. Toby says, question, do you really believe Hollywood would actually honor Dragon Ball? Fuck no. They might say they will, but they won't. What's up, John Ty? How you doing, buddy? Speaking of Toriyama, good news is we're getting both standalone, or Sandland in anime form, and the Dragon Ball Daima? Huh. I don't know what that is. If that's something from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, I haven't gotten there yet. Primo Omega says, I mean, to be fair, both Zack Snyder and Kentaro Miura, both of them are fans of the 1981 movie Excalibur. You know what? That explains a lot. As soon as I watched Excalibur, and I think in an interview, Zack Snyder said that was like his favorite film of all time. Everything makes sense. Every film Zack Snyder has ever made makes total sense. This man has just spent his entire career trying to remake Excalibur. And much like Excalibur, you see a lot of the same stylistic choices, a lot of the same sort of like problems, a little bit here and there. But I see the style, I see the flavor. You know, like I get it. I definitely get it. I did not know that Kentaro Miura was a big fan of Excalibur, but that also makes a lot of sense. Sixington says, Zack Snyder's Batman, the cuckling of Superman. I did her, Clark, when you were dead. Oh, dude. Now I'm just imagining the sacrifice in a fucking the Berserk scene where like Griffith sacrifices everyone with the God Hand watching. Just have Darkseid watching over fucking Batman raping Lois Lane. Superman just gets driven insane by it. Oh man. Yeah, the Snyderverse of the DC universe is just Berserk. Oh shit. Oh man, you made me fucking snort my teeth. I don't even know you snort your teeth. Ugh. Let's see. What do you think about the Krakoa era of X-Men ending? I think it potentially could have been really cool. I'm still salty about Jonathan Hickman getting kicked off because, oh dude, I especially feel it really hard now after reading Dune, and watching the Dune and Dune Part 2, because there's so much in the Krakoa era, at least how it starts. There is so much in House of X and Powers of 10 that is just Dune. And we could have gotten something really special. But instead we got another situation where Marvel abandons the brain trust of the entire idea, just kicks them to the curb, and then just flails around with their arms tied between their balls, and we don't know what we're doing! We're gonna break everything! We're gonna go back to a familiar status quo after this. just wasted potential, man. Could have been really cool, but it just ultimately went out with a whimper and not a bang. It's kind of sad. But I'm sure someone else is going to come along and do something really cool with the X-Men in like the next 5 to 10 years, so it is what it is. Toby says, question, how would you have fixed Amazing Spider-Man? I mean, I think I answered this question last week. I wouldn't focus on fixing Spider-Man. You fix the character just by moving forward with really good stories and, you know, good character development. That's literally all you gotta do. J. Michael Straczynski told us this lesson, damn it. 1610 says, Earth 616 Spider-Man fans complain and consume. I mean, working in a comic book store, you saw a lot of people who would just buy Amazing Spider-Man just because they're completionists. Not even reading the book anymore. Just, I gotta get Spider-Man because I've been reading Spider-Man since like 1990 when Todd McFarlane was on the book. So I can't stop. So there are a lot of guys out there who are just like that, who are just reading the book because they feel like they have to. Time travel super confusing. Dude, you're fucking telling me. But when it's handled really well, it's absolutely bitchin'. I promise. Hey guys, chill out. It's all good. No one's harassing creators, unless it's Dan Slott harassing. No, I'm kidding. Don't harass Dan Slott. He actually seems like a pretty cool guy when he's like not on Twitter. Honestly, at this point, I would be all on board with Grant Morrison Spider-Man. Grant Morrison on Spider-Man would be the weirdest shit in the world. I'd be here for it, but it'd be the weirdest shit in the world. Just telling you straight up. Nolan versus Harvey Dent quote, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Fandoms who continue to complain and consume. Yeah. Still in Hickman never got to finish his X-Men story. Yeah. Me too. I'll never forgive Marvel for blackballing Hickman on X-Men. Yeah, that kind of sucked. But you know what? We wouldn't have gotten the new Ultimate Universe without Hickman getting kicked off of the X-Men books. And I'm really fucking liking Ultimate Spider-Man right now. I really like that there's a Spider-Man book that I can read. Well, one of two Spider-Man books that I can read, because I really love... do I have it here still? Yeah. I really love the first issue of Spider-Man. Just... Greg Weisman is... He blew all of the chunks out of the balls in a good way. This is really fucking good. But also I didn't read this last week. Or I guess not in time for the stream. But I read it this week, and this was amazing. This is literally just Peach Momoko doing a horror manga because no one can tell her not to. I absolutely love this. And no, did I get like... No, wait, is this... Oh shit, that's like my hair oil. Fuck. Well, I just fucked up my comic. That's nice. Let's do this. I'll just do that. Hopefully, one day, if I ever meet Peach Momoko and I have her sign this, she won't notice it, right? That's bad. Whatever. That's what I get for trying to style my hair while on the computer in the morning. But yeah, no, Peach Momoko's action is really good. It is gonna be weird having two Storms in the new Ultimate Universe. Because Storm is like a big part of Ultimate Black Panther, which I did read this week. Yeah, that was pretty good. But I did see in the preview for issue 2 of Ultimate X-Men, there's a girl who's like a Japanese girl with like a whole Storm aesthetic, and she might be like another kind of Storm. It's weird. We'll see where it goes, but I guess the Ultimate Universe has 2 Storms, I suppose, because time travel. That's sort of the weird thing about this new Ultimate Universe. Because for all intents and purposes, it is more or less just the 616 universe, with some things here and there that are different, because the maker just stuck his dick in everything, and, you know, he interjected himself into, like, key events, so now things are different. But there are some pretty foundational, like, fundamental differences between 6160 and 616. Like, for example, Tony Stark being, like, 15 years younger than Peter Parker. That's pretty unique to this universe. Apparently there being 2 Storms, also pretty unique to this universe. There's also a weird thing where, like, Black Panther, just the entire aesthetic of Wakanda, it's just the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Wakanda, which doesn't really match up with what we've seen of Wakanda in the past. But I don't know, whatever. That's just MCU synergy there, I suppose. But yeah, I've started to notice that, like, the new Ultimate Universe is, like, it's kind of different because of the maker, but it's also just, there's also just some stuff in there that's just fundamentally radically different from the 616 universe that we're all familiar with. With X-Men, for me, everything wrong with the X-Men is rooted in Jean's resurrection. All the complaints about X-Men continuity being convoluted from the 90s onward is rooted in this resurrection. You know what? I will stand with you on that, because I'm not a big X-Men reader. But maybe Jean's resurrection is definitely a big player. You know what? I don't know. I always feel uncomfortable talking about the X-Men, because the only X-Men I've really read is, like, Morrison. I've read, like, some of the... Actually, I think I read most of the Whedon run when I was, like, in high school. And that was, like, fucking 10 years ago now. And I also read, like... the Stan Lee stuff. I read that. But whenever I think about trying to attempt to read the Claremont stuff and, like, the 90s stuff where everything sort of splinters off into, like, 30 different titles, and then the X-Men becomes a franchise within a franchise, like, that's just when I nope out, and I just ignore that entire side of the Marvel Universe. It just doesn't happen. I think I've said this before, but I'll stand by this. Whenever people say that it's impossible to jump into American comics, that's a lie. That's some bullshit. You can definitely jump into, like, Batman issue 143. You can definitely jump into Amazing Spider-Man 831. You can jump into all of these books and be perfectly fine. That's what I did. I started reading Spider-Man with, like, issue 5, 9/11 or whatever, the 9/11 issue, whatever that was. And then I just kept reading from there. But the one franchise you cannot do that with, the one franchise you can't just jump into it with, is X-Men. So whenever people complain about American comics being confusing and not knowing where to jump in, that's some bullshit, and I refute that, with the exception of the X-Men. That is completely valid with the X-Men. It's not valid with Batman or anyone else or Superman or whatever, but like, yeah, X-Men is, that's the one you just can't do that with. If you weren't reading X-Men, like, from the 70s onward to now, you're fucked. You're just SOL there, buddy. So that's why I'm just not a big X-Men guy. How to fix a franchise? Just make a better sequel. I mean, it works though. It works. What do you think about fans if they have it in their heads that they don't like the story, they get to harass the writers or editors? I mean, it's pretty shitty. Like, a lot of these guys are just trying to do their jobs. I do think it's like a it's not a cut and dry black and white sort of thing though. There are definitely comic book writers and editors who poke the bear, and then when the bear eventually like snaps at them, they try to like play the victim card. I've definitely seen that a lot. I've 1,000,000% seen that. I think we all have. But yeah, I don't know. Just, if you don't like a story, you don't have to like freak out at someone and go like, "Bah, how dare you!" Like, nah, that's weird. Don't do that. Just don't read it. Like for example, I'm a big Chip Zdarsky fan, but that man's current run on Batman is just, holy shit, what happened? Like, what happened? This book was so good, and now it's just weird AO3 14-year-old power fantasy fanfic. Like, what happened here? This is stupid. But, like, I'm not gonna... Like, why? Why hop into Chip Zdarsky's DMs and be like, kill yourself? That's so stupid. And I'm not exaggerating. People actually do that. And it's fucking weird. Like, just don't... If you don't like a story, don't read it. That's all you gotta do. And except for the cases where like writers and editors are like actually being like dicks and sort of, I bet you won't like this. Fuck off. You are asking for people to fuck with you at that point. So I feel no sympathy when that happens. But other than that, like, no, just don't be weird. What have you read today? Well, I can tell you what I bought today. I bought Action Comics number 1053. This is the conclusion of Jason Aaron and Timms. Like Bruce Timm? No, John Timms. What's this? Cool. The John Timms and Jason Aaron Bizarro arc, which I didn't read the second part of it yet, so I have to read that, but I thought part 1 was really good, and I'm excited to read the conclusion, or I guess this is billed as the conclusion to the Bizarro arc, so I'm excited to check this out, but this is what I picked up today. I also ended up getting Batman Dylan Dog, because what the fuck? This is such a random crossover. I mean, it's a fitting crossover. Like, Dylan Dog is he's basically like French John Constantine. So, that's pretty cool. I haven't read a lot of Dylan Dog. A lot of American publishers aren't great at, like, translating a lot of those really cool old French comics. Like that's why it's been like really hard to get copies of Valerian and Laureline. That's a really good series. That's like the well, not godfather of like pulp sci-fi, but a lot of sci-fi in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Once you read Valerian and Laureline, you can clearly see where all that inspiration comes from. It's really important for like the genre of science fiction throughout the 20th century, and it just kind of sucks that no one talks about it. But it's a really influential comic. I absolutely love it, but nobody prints it, you know. And I don't feel like paying $500 for the graphic albums, which will probably not even be translated. They're probably all in French. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. And Dylan Dog is another one of those cases where really cool French comic. Good luck finding copies that are translated in your country. But yeah, this is a potentially really cool crossover. I can't wait to read this. Because this is just like, dude, even the art's really cool. Like it's got a lot of that, like, it feels very like European. With like it feels like Riley Rossmo did this a little bit. I mean, I know it's not Riley Rossmo, but like still. No, this is like all really good. I love this. I love the atmosphere of this a lot. I can't wait to read this. I just didn't have time to read it before I started streaming, but I picked this up and I'm excited to read this. And I also picked up Avengers Twilight by Chip Zdarsky and Daniel Acuna, and I did read this, and I did really enjoy this. Again, it's literally just Avengers Dark Knight Returns, but it's really cool, so whatever. It's handled really well, and I think Chip Zdarsky has like a really solid handle on all these characters. It's just fun, and it's kind of cool seeing Chip Zdarsky do something Marvel related that does not involve Spider-Man. Because I love his take on Spider-Man a lot, but whenever you're reading his Spider-Man and like other Marvel characters show up, you're very clearly seeing them through Peter Parker's lens. And Peter Parker has a very antagonistic lens. But I really like I really like the way Chip Zdarsky handles the Avengers here. In all honesty, this makes me want to see like a Chip Zdarsky just Avengers book. Like, I'd be very interested to see what Chip Zdarsky can do with the actual Avengers title. I think that'd be really cool. But all the stuff with like Tony Stark's son is really interesting, and the Red Skull sort of like taking over America. All that's really cool. Again, it is literally just Dark Knight Returns, and like some of the ideas of Dark Knight Strikes Again just smushed into one story and reskinned as the Avengers. But it's really good. And the artwork is also amazing by Daniel Acuna. So, again, I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's really fun. I like it. It's good. And the other one I picked up this week was Thor, or much rather the Immortal Thor. This is leading into the big Roxxon event that Al Ewing is going to be doing with Greg Land, and this book is weird. Like, this book is really weird, especially after reading Earth X. I don't want to say that Al Ewing is doing the thing with the Aesir gods that Jim Krueger does with the gods. Not just the Aesir, but just like you know, the figures of world mythology and religion all around. I'm not sure if Al Ewing's doing that with this. Which I don't want to spoil what it is in this. If you know, you know. But if you don't know, read Earth Exit. It's amazing. But yeah, Al Ewing does a really interesting thing with Thor, where basically it's Thor versus the Demiurge, and Gnostic religion. But Thor also recognizes the gods from those interpretations of religion as familiars. Like, when he approaches Freya, who is like Mother Earth, he approaches her as, you know, like, Mother, come talk to me. I gotta talk to you, Mother. But it's Gaia. So, like, it's still the same figure, but it's a different face, and they have a different relationship, but the familiarity is still there. It's very weird and interesting. And they also talk about how, like, Loki is present, but Thor addresses Loki as, like, a different entity, under a different name. No, this is, like, really fascinating. I can't wait to read this in, like, when it's all collected in trade. That fucking $30 ass trade. Because Marvel just can't not overprice their goddamn trade paperbacks. Which, of course, is how we end up with piracy. But I don't know what's going through Marvel's head. I don't know what's been going through their heads with the way that they collect trade paperbacks, but they've always been needlessly expensive. Like, even as a kid, I remember like, my parents mostly getting me DC Comics. In fact, that's probably why I'm a bigger DC fan than I am a Marvel fan, just because DC wasn't charging out the ass for trades, while Marvel was like, oh, do you want this 5-issue arc? $50. Yeah, no, they're just like that. They've always been like that. But, I don't know. That's unfortunate. But anyways, I am excited to read this whole thing in one fell swoop. And in the meantime, month to month, it's been really good. The covers by Alex Ross have all been amazing. And the art itself, by, fuck. Where are the credits? Are the credits in the back? Are they doing that stupid thing? Are you doing that thing where the credits are on the back? Please don't say you're doing. Yeah, you're doing that thing. Alright. Ibram Robinson and Matthew Wilson. Well, Matthew Wilson's a really good colorist. But yeah. Art's been like phenomenal. Kinda wanna show you, like, look at this. Tell me that's not badass. Dude, I'm just super excited to be reading Thor. It's really good. I also picked up I mean, this is old. But Green Arrow number 8 or 9. I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but I'm still buying this book because I feel like I might be like one of the 3 people buying Green Arrow. Which is normal, because no one really gives a fuck about Green Arrow. But I'm excited to see what this whole thing with Amanda Waller is about. And the artwork is pretty cool. Like, this is awesome. I mean, I'm like actively spoiling myself, but this looks cool. And I also picked up Flash number 6, which, again, I haven't read yet, but I will probably after the stream is over. But the first 5 issues I thought were really good. Can I just say the art by Mike Deodato Jr. has been fantastic this whole run so far. Like, he's doing so many weird and interesting things. This book, again, it basically just feels like if Steve Ditko got the chance to write and draw Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, if Steve Ditko got the chance to write and draw the Flash, I feel like it would come out a lot like this. Again, it's been really phenomenal so far. I can't wait to jump into issue 6. But yeah, no, those are the comics I picked up this week. Well, not all of the comics I picked up this week. I also grabbed Tokyo Ghost Volume 2 because I am convinced I have Volume 1 somewhere. I don't know where it will be, but I do have it. I remember reading it. I just gotta get Volume 2, and if I don't have Volume 1, well then shit, I guess I gotta rebuy Volume 1. But yeah, those are all the comics I picked up this week. It's a pretty big haul. This is like what? Looking 2, 4, 6. Yeah, it's like 6 books. I have like 2 books that I'm going to pick up next week, which is the Garth Ennis James Bond series, because I'm very fascinated to know what Garth Ennis is going to do with James Bond. I've heard a lot of people actually say that it's very uncomfortably similar to the Ian Fleming novels. Like, he doesn't put like a cinematic filter on James where like he's likable and endearing to the audience. He just presents him as is, and he's just like a piece of shit. So I'm excited to check that out. I think that'd be really fun to read, especially in an era where the James Bond original Ian Fleming books are probably gonna be like edited, and they're gonna have like all the racism and sexism taken out of them, which I feel like would just leave you with like 3 pages a book. Like, Live and Let Die alone is like egregiously racist. I'm not sure if you guys have like ever read James Bond, but like, holy crap, those books are of a time. They definitely are. But I'm not one of those people that thinks that you should edit the past to fit modern sensibilities. I think that's a mistake. You shouldn't do that. If you're gonna pearl clutch it, at the very least, just like, I don't know, put up a little disclaimer and go like, things were different back then, and then just proceed with the book. Let's see. Kevin Smith's Spider-Man, My Girlfriend's Traumatic Childhood. Oh, from The Evil That Men Do? Yeah. I mean, I remember liking that a lot as a kid, though. I don't know what the hell happened to that second Mysterio. Does anyone know what happened to him? I feel like he might just be gone now. I think he might be dead. I guess. Tubby says, it would be weird, but damn, if Grant Morrison was doing something crazy with Spider-Man and giving us the marriage with Peter and Mary Jane. They probably wouldn't do that. I'm not sure how Grant Morrison feels about Mary Jane Watson, or like anything past the Steve Ditko era. As much as I love Grant Morrison also has sort of that thing that like Mark Waid has, where they are very beholden to a certain era of comics, which is the one they grew up with. Granted, but you know, Grant Morrison isn't like a slave to what they grew up with in the same way that Mark Waid is, I feel. But there's definitely a bias there. You even see some of that in like Grant Morrison's run on the X-Men, where when he brings in Magneto and like has Magneto be revealed as the ultimate architect of everything, because of course he was. He's distinctly not writing Chris Claremont Magneto. At the very least, he's not writing what people describe, at least have described to me, Chris Claremont Magneto. He's just straight up mutant Hitler. Like, my man's is just straight up the Stan Lee and Jack Kirby era Magneto, who's just a monster with no redeemable qualities at all. He's just evil, which would probably explain why a lot of Claremont fans didn't like Grant Morrison's take on Magneto, and why Marvel did all that weird bullshit to fix Magneto and say it was actually his evil twin brother who was actually Zorn. Yeah, just dumb. Any opinion on Ultimate Black Panther? I thought issue 2 was pretty cool. I like the idea of treating T'Challa not as like, Black Regal Superman, as we've sort of seen with a lot of recent Black Panther books, and it's more so just treating him as like a fucking psychotic king who's going insane and is operating off of the whims of not the Bene Gesserit. I don't know what they're called in the actual Black Panther book or Ultimate Black Panther book, but like they're more or less just the Bene Gesserit, but like they're not the Bene Gesserit from Dune, which is fitting, because Brian Edward Hill said that he wanted to make a Black Panther book in the same vein as Dune, and that's exactly what he's doing. I do wish the art was a bit more creative in terms of its designs. I feel like Black Panther has sort of the same like Richard Donner Superman problem, in that after the movie came out, just everyone is so beholden to that cinematic take that nothing else matters. Like Wakanda in the new comics, or at the very least the new Ultimate comics, is literally it's just Wakanda from the movies, which I think is a bit of a shame. It would have been really cool to see someone sort of take the concept of like Wakanda and do like their own thing with it visually, but it is what it is. The book itself is pretty cool. I think it's interesting so far. I'm fascinated to see where it goes. Scream says, on the Bat Family, another problem is that writers and editors are afraid of making Bruce look too old. Don't get me started. Dude, Bruce Wayne's story is over. Like, this man, he shot, first of all, Batman used a gun, and not just any gun. It's like an alien gun from a higher dimension that is the blueprint for every gun ever created in the universe. It's the gun that killed JFK. It's the gun that killed Abraham Lincoln. It's the gun that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. Batman shoots Darkseid, the living embodiment of evil throughout the multiverse. Batman shoots evil with the gun that killed his parents, and then he dies after Darkseid shoots the Omega beams at him. That's it. Bruce Wayne's story is over. You are done with Bruce Wayne at that point. It's over. There is no better way to end that character story. It is done. And even though I know it was Grant Morrison who brought him back to life, it was still a mistake. That shouldn't have happened. We should have just left. We should have just left well enough alone and have Dick Grayson continue his tenure as Batman with Damian as Robin. We should have just let that keep going. Because now Batman's just in a weird spot where he's just like perpetually spinning his wheels, even though his story's already over. But yeah, Bruce. Yeah, it's done. I don't know. Edgar from the Elite, or Elite of Battle Angel. Oh, the Elite YouTube. I don't know. The Elite Battle Angel YouTube channel. The most negative comic book fan I've ever seen in my life. Huh. Well, I don't know who that is. So, you know. Maybe he's not all that bad. Maybe he has some things he likes, but I don't know. You wouldn't be into comics if you like hated everything. I can guarantee you that. This is a question. Do you think this new Ultimate Marvel Universe is basically going to be way more successful? Probably not. I don't see that happening. 1610 says, if DC does a new Ultimate Universe, Flashpoint extended. Oh, fucking no. No, don't do that. No, we can live without Flashpoint. Honestly, Jean's Resurrection is the original sin of the entire 616 Marvel Universe. For the first 25 years, Marvel was actually good at keeping major characters dead. I mean, yeah, they were. They were, and then Jean came back, and then everyone came back after that. Although, apparently, you can blame Jean's resurrection on DC, because after the death of Superman, when Superman came back, everyone's like, well, you gotta bring Jean back, and you gotta bring all these other characters back, and now death is meaningless in comics. Take this question: if DC does their own Ultimate Universe similar to how Marvel, how would you do it? Well, like the current Ultimate Universe, DC's already done that. It's called Flashpoint. But like, how would I do like an Ultimate DC Universe? Well, I won't tell you, because maybe I'll pitch it to DC. I don't know. It would probably look something like whatever Max Landis was trying to go for with his whole Kryptonian epic take. Which some of it legitimately sounds pretty cool, and then other parts of it are Superman executing the entire Suicide Squad on live television. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't like that at all. But some of the other stuff actually sounds pretty cool and creative. It would have made a pretty interesting Ultimate Universe for DC. If only he hadn't raped. Allegedly. But, you know, still. What's good, Emmanuel? Who do you think is the best and worst Spider-Man writers of the 21st century? Best obviously has to go to J. Michael Straczynski. I think he's the best Spider-Man writer of the 21st century. Worst writer. I mean, I'll say Dan Slott. Nothing like personal against him. I just don't think his style of storytelling is not suited for Spider-Man. Dan Slott, I think, ideally is the guy who writes a ball-ass Superman book. Dan Slott is the guy you get to write a really funny The Question series featuring Blue Beetle. Or like a Booster Gold Blue Beetle book. Yeah, but I just don't think Dan Slott's sensibilities fit with Marvel overall, and I also just don't think it fits with Spider-Man, like especially Spider-Man. But How about Legion of Superheroes? Do you feel the same way about? Do you have the same issue with them? Yes, I do. I fuck the fuck the Legion of Superheroes and fuck the X-Men. Those are just impenetrable to get into. Supreme says, how about Legion of Superheroes? Oh wait, you already said that. How to get into comics? Just pick up a writer, new writers, soft reboot. Essentially. Do you believe Marvel should just go ahead? Wait, what? Do you believe Marvel should just go in the real time and not do the sliding timescale thing anymore? Well, I mean, that's what they were doing in the beginning, and then they stopped. Like it takes like 4 years for Peter Parker to age out of high school. So obviously it works for Spider-Man, but like I don't know, might not work for like other characters or like the other wider universe. Marvel might just be too successful to try anything that daring anymore, I think. Question: do you believe Marvel should? Wait, no, I already read that one. Fuck, dude. Do you feel Batman has the same problem as Spider-Man? Absolutely. On different ends of the spectrum. I think Marvel editors are, specifically, I think Spider-Man editors are way too involved in the product. And I think Batman editors have been asleep at the wheel for the past 15 years. So, you know, same problem. It's all editorial, but just on polar opposite extremes there. Hypothetical question. Okay, I have a hypothetical answer. What if Marvel kept aging in real time in the 70s onwards? Do you think they would still have been successful back in the 60s? Did move in real time? Or if they did move in real time? Probably not. Probably not. Just being real about it, I don't think they would be. But I don't know. Could have been really cool. Could have been. Africa. Yeah, it's a continent, all right. Stop AIDS. Yeah. In Europe, everyone reads comics as part of the basic society, unlike America, where it's looked down on. That's hilarious. Toby says, new question. If Marvel would finally pull the trigger and have Miles Morales Spider-Man be the main character, would people accept it? I think you need to phase Peter out very gracefully. You have to have, like, the quintessential ending to that character with a really solid writer and a really solid artist paired with them to do that. Like, and I don't know. I don't see a lot of contemporary guys being able to do it. Yeah, I see him. But he stopped spamming, so whatever. Hey, chill out, 6 and 10. Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, or Dark Knight 4, the darkest, the darkest night in Gotham. With X-Men 97 coming out, I've seen a lot of grifters trying to rewatch the history of X-Men, saying it isn't a woke concept. Fucking, of course they are. It's so funny because like superhero comics have historically leaned left. So like trying to put like a right wing bend on a lot of superhero comics is just sort of like silly because that's not where they are. Whether you like it or not, it just is what it is. Supreme Omega says, on comic prices, do you feel that is why manga is popular with them kids? Yes. Yes, I do. Because fucking Thor by goddamn Al Ewing Volume 1 is like $30 for probably like 5 issues worth of story. So that's being generous. $30 for 55 pages of content. Meanwhile, you can get a manga that is $10 for like 150 pages worth of content, or like 300 pages worth of content. Yeah, there's a big reason why a lot of people are moving on to manga as opposed to comics. But that's just like one of the reasons why. I think there are other bigger reasons too. X-Men 97 looks cool. Yeah, I mean, I heard the showrunner got kicked off the book for like having an OnlyFans, which kind of fucking sucks. But whatever. Manuel says, "Are you gonna be watching Invincible?" Absolutely. I really enjoyed the first half of season 2. I'm excited to see what they come up with for the second half of season 2. The show has already sort of splintered away from the book in like some pretty meaningful ways. So I'm interested to see sort of the direction that the new run sort of takes, or the manga takes, much rather. I'm surprised Christopher Nolan hasn't done a gritty reboot of James Bond. I mean, he did. It's called the Dark Knight Trilogy. No, I scrolled too hard. There we go. Supreme says, should problematic art be presented in their uncensored forms? Because in the Marvel Unlimited, they have edited all of Kitty Pryde saying racial slurs in the 80s. That's a problem. I don't think that's a good idea. That is erasing the past. You are erasing the past in doing that. Also, Chris Claremont was trying to make a point when he wrote that. I know exactly the issue you have. I have that issue myself. But yeah, no, that's a mistake. I don't like that at all. I'm a slave to what I grew up with. All hail the late 90s, early 2000s, and early 2010s. When it comes to the Marvel Universe, Grant Morrison doesn't have the DC Silver Age blinders to the Marvel Universe. That's true. I don't think it does either. That was from Final Crisis. Whatever I said regarding the Flash and or Superman, probably Final Crisis. The Bruce Wayne dying, that's from Final Crisis. That's when that happened. Claremont fans are actually kind of culty online most of the time. I buy that. Claremont X-Men fans are culty in real life, so I can totally see them being cultish on the internet. New Ultimate Universe is just another Flashpoint. I mean, it literally is. Did you read any of the DC Earth 1 books? I did. I've read all of them, actually. And I think for the most part, they're pretty cool. I loved Green Lantern Earth 1. Actually, I have Volume 1 and Volume 2 on my bookshelf. I really love the Earth 1 Superman trilogy. I actually have that on here if you ever want to check that out. I also read Batman Earth 1, which is it's fine. Definitely, if you get a chance, read Zero Year. I think that is like a better Riddler story than Earth 1. Also, Batman the Imposter. That's a really good Batman Earth 1 story. It's Earth 1 but like better than Earth 1. Which Marvel apparently shouldn't bring back Gwen Stacy because that character needs to stay dead. Yes. Bringing her back would be a complicated issue and present a lot more problems. Ooh, I like this one. On Legacy Heroes, even if you phase the old guy gracefully, you would still get complaints. It took years for readers to accept Wally as the Flash. Why do you think Wade wrote that Reverse Flash story? That's true. And it's really good too. I think it's called The Return of Barry Allen, which yeah, naturally. But Toby says, question: do you why do these grifters want to see everything unhappy? Because for me, I'm tired of looking at these checks. They're just guys on the internet who want their voice to be heard, and they want to be like the big guy because they weren't in high school, I guess, whatever. Yeah, Comixology, the app does suck for reading comics. Sad we won't get to finish Earth 1 Green Lantern trilogy. I know! It ends on such a cliffhanger. It could have been so cool, but we don't live in the cool future where we get a Green Lantern Earth 1 trilogy. Missed it by one universe. But yeah, I mean, what we have like over there is pretty cool. I heard that James Gunn is stylistically looking at Earth 1 for Green Lanterns. So that's potentially really cool. I'm excited to see how that goes. But yeah, let's see. JMS Flash was never released. JMS wrote the Flash. Oh, yeah. Jeremiah Krasinski was gonna write Flash Earth 1. Well, I mean, I assume JMS is still writing comics. I mean, how hard would it be for DC to just ask him to do Flash Andromeda or something like that, or whatever that book was called. Actually, no, I mean it is called Aquaman Andromeda, but I can't remember who actually wrote it right now. It might have been like Ram V. It was Ram V and Christian Ward. Yeah, that, in all honesty, is basically an Earth 1 title that is like it's Earth 1 and everything but the name. So that'd be pretty cool to see. But yeah. Actually, on that note, I'm gonna go to bed. I am very tired. And I have a super early shift in the morning, so I'm going to bid you guys good night. Thanks for showing up. But like I said at the top of the video, or at the top of the stream, please, if you can, donate to Peter David's GoFundMe. This man is a living legend, and he absolutely deserves like a high quality of living. It sucks that Marvel and DC aren't doing that for him, even though he was instrumental in crafting like the modern mythology of like their corporate tapestry. But it is what it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put in here the link to his GoFundMe, so you guys can hopefully get a hold of it. And if you can't donate, just, you know, it'd be cool if you just shared it. Where the hell is it? Hold on a second. There we go. So I'm gonna pop it here in the chat. Yep. If you can, you know, support Peter David's GoFundMe. But if you can't, you know, just at the very least, just share it around, so more eyes are on it. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for stopping by, and I'm glad I got to stream for you guys, and I'm really excited for you guys to see my review of Earth X, because this is like the first actual comic review I've done in a long time. Let me see what actually was the last comic review I did. Holy shit, the last comic book review I did was and this is like loosely a comic review. This was for the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle run back in like August of 2023. Holy crap. That was a while ago. And before that was like a review rant of Superman versus the Elite, or I guess Action Comics 775. And that was back in fucking July. Holy Christ. Dude, I haven't reviewed like an actual comic in fucking forever. Alright, yeah, this is gonna be like the first comic review I've done in like a long ass time, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. But yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace. That was sloppy and stupid, but you know, whatever. Good night.